Hey everyone, it's that guy over there bringing you another review. Moving on to Rising Leviathan II. So, this is part 9 of our series. We're moving right along. We'll get one more data slate, Rising Leviathan 3, and then we'll start talking the Leviathan book. And then we'll be done with all the units and we can talk lists and tactics. And I'm just trying to establish a base of knowledge right now. And this is stuff you could read, obviously. I'm just adding my piece to it, and what I think about individual units, and then kind of piecing it together in tactics and lists, and hopefully maybe some battle reports. So, okay, Rising Leviathan 2. So whereas Rising Leviathan 1 was kind of the vanguard organisms with gene sealers, lictors infiltrating in, a lot of like assassinations and sneaking around in the underhive of these imperial cities. This is when the invasion kind of starts in earnest. So you're going to see a lot of the units or their formations that are designed to kind of wear down the enemy, whether they like somehow spawn more or reappear certain models. A lot of grinding down the foe blast templates. So you'll see that in this set of formations. It's kind of the second stage of the invasion. All right, so now we've got that. We've got the incubator node to start it off. So incubator node, the cost is 315 points base, and what it is a Tervagon and 3 Termagant brutes. So already you've got 30 on the table. This really isn't a point saver because you're taking 30 Termagants anyway, whereas in just a regular CAD you could take 30 Termagants and then take it as a troop. If it was like 10 Termagants in a Tervagon, I think it would see a lot more play, but because it's not really saving you any points necessarily, it's kind of indifferent there. No formation restrictions, but then the formation special rules is hyper-progenitive. So what this does is when rolling to see how many Termagants the Tervagon from this formation spawns, you must reroll any rolls of a 1. So this is a double-edged sword. So like you would hate to just like roll triple 1s or something and kind of spawn out with just 3 Termagants. It's possible. It's never happened to me. I have rolled 3 6s and I have rolled like a 2 and 2 1s, but I've never rolled a triple 1. But you'd hate for the doubles that makes you stop rolling, stop spawning would be like a double 1. You'd hate you wouldn't want that. So this is good because if you roll 6 and 2 1s, well now you get to reroll the 1s and who knows what you'll end up with. However, it does actually increase your likelihood of rolling doubles. So if you roll a 6, a 4, and a 1, and you reroll the 1, you've got a 33% chance of rolling doubles, right? Because a 6 or a 4 will yield a double. So you're on average, you will spawn more gaunts, and you will never. Well, I don't want to say you'll never. You're much less likely to roll double 1s for spawning out. That being said, when you re-roll, it's already about a 50% chance that you're going to fail or you're going to roll doubles and spawn out and not be able to spawn any more gaunts. But so you go with a 50% chance, and if you roll any 1s, now that 1 that you have to re-roll is going to give you a 33% chance. So it's almost having the chance of not spawning out, if that makes sense. So where you're sitting at like a 25% chance of not spawning out. So just keep that in mind. It's I don't know if I would take this one. I think if I had 30 Termagants in a Tervagon, I think I would just take him as a troop choice if I wanted to take him. So they could have done so much with that, maybe just if you roll doubles, you keep spawning as normal. That would have been awesome. I think people would take that all day, but it's just not worth the formation, because it actually kind of hurts you. Okay, Synaptic Swarm. So this is kind of the warrior formation. Synaptic Swarm consists of the following units: a Tyranid Prime, 3 Tyranid Warrior Broods. No restrictions, and they are synaptic conduits. All models in this formation have a synapse range of 18 inches. So that's really good. Let's get the point cost here real quick. The Synaptic Swarm is 395 points base. Now the increase for Tyranid Prime, the point cost, the increase really kind of hurt this. Previously you would have taken 40 points off that, so 350 points. That would have been actually pretty decent just for a basic. And you know, you're at 395, you're going to give them all Devourers if you want to run them with guns, so that's up to, so you got 10, so 10 times 5, so 50, so now you're at 445 points. They all have 18-inch synapse range, which is pretty sweet, but I just don't think they're adding a lot of combat power to your list. Now if you were to take them in, because again this is only 10 models for almost 500 points, maybe if you were to put them in drop pods and try to do the Ballistical 4 from the Tyranid Prime, or just sit in the back, maybe if you gave them biocannons instead and kind of had them in the backfield. You don't have to attach the Tyranid Prime to this formation. You could put them with the 30-man or 30 Gaunt Brood to tie that down, and then just really hold down big parts of the table. If you were going for something like that, I would almost say take a Tyranid Prime with the Norn Crown, put them in a big blob of Termagants, and call it a day. I don't know if having that much synapse, because at that point you have too much synapse. Because 500 points, that's eating into your points that you need to use for creatures that need synapse. So yeah, Tyranid Prime with the Norn Crown, 165 points. Put them in a 120 point Gaunt Brood, and what was that, 285 points, and you've got, you need one more troop choice and you've met your requirements for an army, and you've got a huge blob, a huge synapse radius. And there you go. That's what I would do. Skyblight Swarm. Okay, so when this formation came out, a lot of people were talking about banning it from tournaments. A lot of people were talking about how this was going to like unbalance the game, and it's kind of funny when it first came out how much people reacted to it. So anyway, what Skyblight is 1 Hive Tyrant, 1 Hive Crone, 2 Harpies, and 3 Gargoyle Broods. So already this is a pretty significant portion of your list. You're probably going to end up building your list around this formation. Skyblight is 805 points base. Part of that is the restriction that the Hive Tyrant has to have wings. But it's 4 flying monstrous creatures and then 3 Gargoyle Broods. A lot of people will take a couple more flying Hive Tyrants, like 2 more, and some Hive Crones, or maybe 1 more Hive Crone, and then some minimum troops, and that gets you up to like 1850 or 1500 pretty quick. The formation special rules is the Gargoyles have objective secured. So this was the test for objective secured, was these Gargoyles here. So it was they controlled objectives even if units were contesting them. It's objective secured, but it was before objective secured was a rule, and people really reacted to that like this is like so overpowered, and that now everybody has it. Sky Swarm. Each time a Gargoyle Brood from this formation is completely destroyed, roll a d6. On a 4+, you can immediately place a new unit in an ongoing reserve that is identical in terms of the original number of models, weapons, and upgrades the unit was just destroyed. Counts as being part of the original detachment, so roll a d6 to as above if they are subsequently destroyed, so they keep coming back on a 4+. Victory points are awarded as normal for new units in this formation that have been completely destroyed. So Space Marines, everybody's talking about like demon summoning and Space Marines getting free transports. Tyranids have been getting free stuff for a lot longer than everybody else, with the Turvagon spawning, and now we have a lot of units that will come back on a 4+, and that's how we get point advantage. It's kind of like card advantage in Magic. It's you know, if you've got, let's say you've got 3 100-point gargoyle units. If they all die, on average you get 150 points back when they die, and then on average you get 75 points. So that's 225 points if they just die. It's not the same as having just free models on the table, but you get point advantage, and it's kind of like having almost an endless supply of reserves, and it's really good. So the biggest limitation to this formation, now that objective secured is kind of universal, and if you weren't playing it for the Sky Swarm, because on a 1 through 3 they don't come back, or if you're playing kill points, you're like, crap, my 10 Gargoyle Brood is just going to die and keep coming back and getting killed. Or if you kind of have to deep strike it, because if it's too far away from your flying Hive Tyrants, it's not going to be in Synapse, and then they'll be pinned and all kinds of stupid things. But the 2 Harpies kind of throw this off. So Gargoyles are good, and they can tie down units really well, like I talked about. The Harpies, I would probably give them the Venom Cannons, the heavy Venom Cannons, and use them as anti-tank. But you do have the option to give them a whole bunch of template weapons and be anti-infantry, and they're really good at that as well. Hive Crone, that's why people ally it with a Caddis, so that you can take another Hive Crone, because Hive Crones are really where it's at. It's the strength 8 vector strikes, and then flying Hive Tyrants. You might consider, now with the new, a lot of tournaments are allowing you to use multiple sources. If you don't value objective secured for whatever reason, and maybe if you see Sky Swarm as like a hindrance more than a help, perhaps just doing 2 CADs and maxing out your flying Hive Tyrants, or doing a Hive Fleet Detachment and a CAD, and you can get flying Hive Tyrants, and then as much as 6 flying monstrous creatures with some minimum troops in there. So, but Skyblight really did shape the Tyranids at the competitive scene for a long time, and still kind of does. So Skyblight is probably the most competitive formation that Tyranids have, and that's why I'm spending so long talking about it. It's just got all the answers. I mean, it's got anti-tank, heavy anti-tank with multiple haywire sources or strength 9 templates, and then it's got anti-infantry with the Harpies, even the Hive Crones with their Drool Cannons, the Hive Tyrants with the Electroshock Grubs, which is strength 5, 85 template, and then the Gargoyle Broods are really good at holding stuff down. It's got a lot of answers, and I'm hesitant. I haven't bought in 3. I have 1 Hive Crone, and I use his wings to make another flying Hive Tyrant. I'm hesitant to go buy a bunch of these Hive Crones and Harpies, because I'd hate for flying monster creatures to get nerfed or something, and then this would be completely a non-thing anymore. But we'll see how it goes. Hive Crones are definitely useful, even if you just take 1. Okay, Living Artillery Node. This is probably, in competitive lists, I've seen Skyblight, I've seen Death Leaper, Assassination Brood, and I've seen the Living Artillery Node. So what it is 1 Exocrine, 1 Biovore Brood, 1 Tyranid Warrior Brood. The Biovore Brood must include 3 models. The Tyranid Warrior Brood in this formation must include a model that has item from the basic Biocannons list, which is the, I can click this real quick. It is Barb Strangler or Venom Cannon. You have to take that. And the point cost for this one is, and this is base, 390 points base. This formation special rules is organic bombardment. So all ranged weapons fired by models in this formation have the pinning special rule, which is huge. Biovores used to just have it because they had barrage weapons, but now that the rulebook changed, they don't have it anymore, so this gives it back to them. And now you have pinning Devourers potentially, you have pinning Exocrine shots, so really good. In addition, models in this formation that are within 12 inches of the formation's Tyranid Warrior Brood can reroll the scatter dice when firing weapons with the blast or barrage special rule. So your Tyranid Warrior Brood effectively twin links all your blast weapons, which is pretty significant considering they're pinning now. And this is some of the higher AP valued weapons, the AP4 Spore Mines and the AP2 like plasma cannon shot. But it's a large blast from the Exocrine, and it's twin link, so it really puts a lot of shots on target, and it's really cheap, 390 points, because you're going to add two more you're going to add two more Biovores, so that'll increase it by 80 points. So now you're looking at 470 points, and then you're going to put two Devourers in there probably, so 480 points. It's not going to break the bank. And it should do pretty significant amounts of damage. AP4 is becoming more and more valuable as the Marine armies kind of drifting away, and it's more Eldar. And I know that Eldar has a lot of 3+ armor saves, but they also are a lot farther away from you in general. So you need stuff to reach out and touch them. And you can have 36-inch range guns, 48-inch Biovore, and then 24-inch Exocrine, which is pretty long range for us. And probably how you would use this is you would kind of build your army to make like a little castle with venom throats for the cover save. Frontline Gaming called it the trapdoor spider, where you hide everybody in the smoke cloud of the venom thropes, or if you're using Forge World, the Malathrop. And Synapse is all there, and cover saves are all there, and you just kind of move down the table and are firing on the move. And then when people get close, you can assault out with your assault units. That's probably how I would do it, is some kind of that mobile castle, that herd mentality that I had a lot of success with in 5th edition. So that's a good one too. Definitely worth it. And that's kind of why I say that you need a unit of warriors, because you'll see more formations where the warriors unlock the formation. So even if you just have 3 warriors, you would get access to a lot of these things. And I like this one because you buy an Exocrine, you buy a couple Biovores, and if you already had the warriors, presumably, now you've got another thing you can bolt onto your force to deal with maybe a change in the meta. I like it. All right, Endless Swarm is the next one. So this is it's 320 points, and it's the Gaunt Swarm. If you remember, there's an Apocalypse formation. This is pretty much the Apocalypse formation. So 3 Hormigaunt Broods, 3 Termagant Broods, and 1 Tyranid Warrior Brood. No restrictions, and the formation special rule is each time a Hormigaunt and Termagant from this formation is completely destroyed on a 4+, you can place a new unit into ongoing reserve that is identical to the unit that was destroyed. And then they count as being part of the formation, so if they die, they can do that the same on a 4+, go into ongoing reserve. Victory points are awarded as normal for new units in the formation that have been completely destroyed. So again, the Tyranid Warrior unlocks the formation. So just the 3 of them probably camping in the back somewhere. And you really have to do, for this one, you really need Trigons to deep strike in and use the tunnels to come up, kind of out of the ground. Because if you don't do that, then they're going to come on your table edge, and you're never going to get across the table again. You'll just have that one death, and then they'll come back on and never get shot at again. And that it's okay, you can bring them in ongoing reserve from your table edge and help the warriors hold down an objective or something. But just know that when these guys are out of Synapse range, they're the ones that either kill themselves they either run away, or they kill themselves and run away when they fail their instinctive behavior checks. So I really wanted to like this one, and people have had success with it. It's just that you're playing a different kind of game. It's not so much like the last one in the Skyblight and the Living Artillery node where you're just killing a lot of stuff. This one is you just have so many bodies and you block up the table. It's a different play style, and it might not be appealing necessarily for 40k players who, in general, it's a lot of like smash type mentality. With fantasy, they're like, I played a skink skirmisher list, and they would just run away, and nothing would die, but my opponent would kind of be stalled up in his back zone. I had a couple models that could kill stuff and just block them up. It's not super fun for your opponent to play against. Alternatively, this one would be a lot of fun because your opponent would just be gunning down gaunts the whole game, and especially if you took significant numbers. But I would almost rather take 2 endless swarms before I would start maxing out my broods with like 30 in each. And it's kind of the classic Tyranid build, I feel, as far as like the swarm of gaunts, and I think this is kind of what Tyranids were supposed to be, and it's just not super effective. I probably wouldn't upgrade anything. I'd probably keep it as cheap as I could, and then again, the Trigons are key. You probably need a comm relay so you can reroll reserves. 1, so you get stuff to come on from ongoing reserves. But 2, let's say you gotta get your tunnels in place, right? So you gotta get the Trigons to come on. But let's say you have 2 tunnels, and all of a sudden 3 gaunts come on. Well, they can't all come out of the tunnels, only 1 at a time. So you might even try to re-roll one of the ones that passed it, so that way you could keep them off. So that way it doesn't just like die or have to come on the table edge or something. So just more food for thought. But yeah, it's a cool swarm. 320 points for 60 gaunt models, and 3 warriors to kind of supervise them. I would probably try to take a Tyranid Prime. Even if you did 2, I would put a Tyranid Prime with the Norn Crown, so that way he could hold down and just bounce between units, and wait for him to come back on. And maybe the warrior broods could hold that the comm relay. So it's pretty cool. They're not objective secured, but it's all right. And it's that classic fluffy Tyranid list. So, and that's the last one we have for this one. I really think the big winners are the Skyblight and the Living Artillery node. I haven't really jumped on board with the Skyblight type list, but Living Artillery node, I really need to start working that into my list, because that is so close to what I used to play. I used to play this I used to call it the Herd, and there was Hive Guard in there, and the Swarm Lord, and Shrikes and Gargoyles, and had Biovores, and they would basically advance down the table, and it was this big ball of Tyranids that was blasting out, and if you got close, you'd get assaulted by stuff, and you could never assault the thing you wanted because everything else was blocking you up. And I feel like I could really get a lot of mileage out of this particular unit. So, and it's not as cheesy maybe as a Skyblight. So anyway, that's what I got for that's what I got for Living Artillery. That's what I got for Rising Leviathan II. Thanks for listening, and please like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you next time with the final data slate, and we will move on then to the Leviathan book and lists and tactics after that. So thank you for your time. Peace.